morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. I am Gunnar Rios, and welcome to another episode of the Logical Gamers podcast. I am here tonight with Mr. Blanca Kong and Mr. Esoteric, and we're going to do another one of our hot takes videos. If this is your first time here, our hot takes section is we spin the lovely wheel that you see in front of us. We've got 10 potential hot takes, some hotter than others. We're going to spin it, whatever it lands on. Esoteric is going to tell us what the hot take is, and we're going to agree, disagree, or we're going to give some nuance. So, conversation could go in any direction. We might think it's a hot take, we might think it's a mid take, but that's the fun of the wheel. So, without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to Kong, and he is going to spin our wheel, and Esso will give us our first hot take on whatever number it lands. Take it away, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
All right. Controversial topic. Let's go. Come on. Something that's going to get me canceled, please.
We don't want that, but you know.
I don't give a fuck. We got two.
Number 2.
This one is pretty light. Crossplay
Alright,
should be mandatory.
Yes. Crossplay should absolutely be mandatory.
A resounding yes.
I mean,
And the crowd goes mild.
I mean, it's like, look, if they want to give us our new future where every game is crossplay or every game is online now, features, I think crossplay should be just your standard operating procedure. One, it doesn't fragment your communities anymore, because let's be real, there's always a higher percentage on any given platform. If it's FPS, chances are there's a higher PC base. If it's a console based, let's say Nintendo is part of it. It's always a smaller percentage of people playing on a Nintendo console compared to a PlayStation console or an Xbox. So it stops fragmenting the player base, which makes for a healthier game, because if everybody's together, there'll be more players to match up with. So if the PlayStation community kind of falls off, even though you play on PlayStation, you're not screwed, because you're playing with the PC community and the Xbox community and Nintendo if they're part of this one. So that's the major thing. But if I want to play devil's advocate, always make sure you have the ability to opt out of crossplay, because stereotypes exist for a reason. PC is a lot more, or cheating, I should say, is a lot more rampant on PC. We're seeing this a lot with Monster Hunter Wilds. They added a competitive ranking system for the arena quests, and you should look at the top times. Top times are taking out Rathian in 17 seconds. My man's is cheating. So the ability to opt out is always good, and some people don't want to deal with that. So I think that should be implemented as well. But yeah, always crossplay. It's the future. Keeps communities alive and healthy. That can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that take. I feel like by enabling crossplay throughout the entire console ecosystem, that will kind of provide like a tide raises all ship type of situation, where I think more sales would come into play in terms of games sold and whatnot, at the comfort of one acquiring the system of their choosing, the system that they enjoy. Now, I think there are some caveats to that, where with crossplay running rampant and being the standard, I think that will also cause console sales to be low. Like, for example, if you have all your games on an Xbox, if you have all your games on the Xbox and there's an exclusive on PlayStation that you would like to play, you would be more inclined to buying a PlayStation. Or like friends who, let's say you are a Sony fan or whatever, and all your friends are within the Xbox ecosystem, it'll pretty much make you more inclined to getting an Xbox due to the fact that all your friends are on there. But with crossplay being available, you wouldn't have to, which would, I think, ultimately hinder console sales. Um, I also think that there might be a potential decrease in exclusives, maybe, perhaps. Because I would see it being more lucrative in terms of people just making games that are geared towards crossplay. Because in order for crossplay to occur, that means that the title has to be distributed throughout the different platforms. Um, so with that, I think there might be a more focal point in which that they'll focus on titles that share an ecosystem as opposed to working on exclusive titles. Um, but again, on the other side of things, it would increase retention for at least I think so. It would increase retention for the multiplayer games because now you have a well dispersed group of people that share different skills and whatnot. The pool has expanded, so to speak. Um, and again, you'll be able to save money. So I agree with the take, but I think there's going to be some things that will potentially kind of fall through the back burner that I hypothesize. So yeah.
I have nothing more to add. Yes, crossplay should be universal. That's it. You
All
guys, I
right.
think, said everything that needed to be said. So let's spin the wheel and see what we get next.
All right.
Number 4.
All right. Number 4. Here we go. The term "Git Good" is lazy criticism.
I guess I'll start. So, yes, it is lazy criticism because it's a very easy thing to say. However, I think it's valid in many interactions, depending on who you're talking to. So, like Get Good, the modern translation would be like skill issue, where like if you're not doing too well in the game or whatever you're complaining, people will go, "Oh, your skill issue sounds like a skill issue." Get Good is what skill issue is now. Um, and I can't say that uh, there's too many situations where that's wrong. There's a lot of scenarios where it's like people complain about a certain game or a certain boss or something like that. It's like, brother, you just gotta like put in the work and like just learn the patterns, learn the fight, learn the matchup, learn your weapon, learn your character, whatever that looks like. Um, and Get Good falls into everything I just said. It sounds pretentious and like elitist when you just say, yeah, Get Good. It's like I understand why people hate that phrase, but it's like what it means is like be better, try, you know, put in effort. So it is a
Yeah.
lazy term though. It is.
No, I agree with that. It is a lazy term, and sometimes it is thrown out with malicious intent, where it's just like, um, oh, I don't understand a particular system. It's not explained that well, or it's a little bit obtuse. Sorry, it's a little bit obtuse. Oh, okay, good scrub. It's like, well, okay, wait a minute. Sometimes, even in our favorite games, they do explain systems or don't explain systems that they could do a better job or make it a little less obtuse, right? Like we all remember the first Armored Core. Okay, it was fucking hard to figure out how to even attach a generator to my AC, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, "Just get good, idiot." It's like, well, clearly Bandai Namco thought differently because they released For Answer, which was a lot more user friendly. So I think they wanted us to get a little bit too good, but But on the flip side, it is kind of a valid answer in a lot of situations. Like if you're having trouble with a boss and you are doing everything you can within the game, right? Your build is correct, you're using the appropriate weapon, you understand how the weapon works. Maybe there's like a parry or a dodge system and you understand it, and you're like on your 50th attempt at the boss. At some point, there is nothing you can do within your point of the game to make it easier, right? You are firing on all cylinders in terms of using all of the resources and all of the game mechanics that a particular game has. So at that point, yeah, the only thing that is left is to kind of get good. I remember me and Kong and Wolf and Esso for some of the fights in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Like we were struggling. Well, not struggling. That's too harsh a word. We were having difficulties with some of the like EX deviants, and I remember us talking. Like we would devise strategies, and like Wolf would be like, "Do I go in this weapon?" Kong would be like, "Okay, I got to switch to this weapon." And for some of them, it was just, "All right, guys, we just gotta get good." Like we're doing everything we can. We have, healing items. We have all our armor sets are fully leveled out. Defense as high as it can go. It really boils down to a lot. I think we would say a lot is like we just need the run. We just need the perfect run. So a lot of that situation was just get good, and it wasn't in a derogatory way. It was just like, well, we are playing at the most optimal level, and we are being as efficient as we can be. There is nothing else we can do or add that will suddenly make this monster go down easier. It's on us. So for the most part, it is used in a derogatory fashion, but sometimes really all that's left for you to do is get good. So
All right, all right. I think this is where I'm on the other side of the fence, guys. I don't think that Get Good is lazy criticism, especially given the current climate that we're in pertaining to the gaming industry. Um, there's a lot of people who secure the space who just complain about certain games just to complain. There are people who are looking to change the blueprint of certain titles because they feel as though it's too hard for them. And these are not people who, in my opinion, has even given the game a full, thorough try. These are people who just like, oh, had an issue with the first boss. Okay, that's it. The game is ass. I don't want to play it anymore. It sucks. Yada yada yada. Or like, oh, why does he keep using this cheesy move? Blah blah blah. This and the third. They're not even. You see how we did with Monster Hunter with the EX monsters. We attempted. We failed. We devised strategies, and even those strategies have failed. It wasn't until we kept devising different plans in which that we were able to succeed. And mind you, this is at the very end game of the game, right? Whereas you'll have Monster Hunter people who went from World and Wilds going back to Generations, and they're complaining about one of the raptors in the game. They're complaining about the Groggy or Froggy or whatever, the entry level monsters, and they're just ranting and bitching and moaning about it. And it's like these are the massive group of people that occupy this gaming space. Um, it's one thing to vent. That's completely understandable, but people will go as far as solutions to, oh, this game is too hard. It needs an easy difficulty. This, that, and the third. And these type of mindsets is what skews the community. Well, not the community, the market now when it comes to the games that they're producing. They want these games that just carry you from beginning to end, and a simple get good would suffice. Because if they wanted us to elaborate on what they mean by get good, they would approach us with questions like, all right, so I'm fighting this guy. What would be the appropriate weapon? At certain animations of the boss, what should I do? I see that he has a wipe sequence in this particular thing. What do I try out? They don't ask questions like that. It's like, oh, this person is one-shotting me. That's it. I hate this game. So it's like, are you really trying at this point? Are you even trying to process the information that's being projected to you within the game? Are you trying to utilize every avenue possible in order to overcome whatever obstacle? No, most of the times that's not the case. So personally, I would agree with the take.
Huh.
All right. I don't have anything to really add, but I don't know about you, Gunner.
no real rebuttal. It's just it's No, no real rebuttal. It's just a word that gets thrown around a lot, and sometimes it's used to discredit or even forgive, in some cases, bad game design or shoddy game design.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
so like it's a loaded word. It's a very loaded word.
Yeah,
Um,
there are instances where it's absolutely used condescendingly, but there's a lot of words, in the English dictionary that way. It's up to the interpreter as to how they interpret it, one, and who they're seeking this information from. Is the person that you're seeking advice from, is it in good faith? Things like that. So don't go to
yeah,
Reddit asking questions and then expecting. I mean, you might get a decent answer, but most of them are going to troll you and say "Get good, scrub." When you're sincerely asking how to overcome an obstacle in a game. I think it depends on the setting in which that the question that you're asking, the type of question that you're asking, and the people that you're expecting to respond.
okay, yeah, I'll concede that.
All right, let's spin the wheel.
Spin it.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Number 10.
Ooh, this one is really good. At least I think so. Um, you're not a fake gamer if you only play mobile games.
Hmm.
Okay. I guess I'll start this one.
Go ahead. Yeah, we want to start
Oh,
light.
fake. You're not a fake gamer. Oh man. So I'm gonna take the lawyer approach, and it depends on what game you're playing, because games like Final Fantasy Tactics and the Disgaea games and even Resident Evil 4 are on cell phones, and those are real games. So you would be a real gamer if you're playing Final Fantasy Tactics on your cell phone, right? Um, that's what they mean. I mean, uh, this is one you ask 20 different people the same question, and they'll give you 20 different answers. One guy will say, "Nah, fuck that shit. You play gotcha games? That shit's bitch. You play Genshin Impact? That shit's bitch. You play Warzone? That shit's bitch." And then you'll go to the next guy. It's like, "Oh no, yeah, you play gotcha? Well, they're one of the most popular games across the world. In Asia, they sell more than AAA games. So one can make an argument that that's more of a, you're the gaming community is more on those games. They are on, I don't know, whatever AAA Dragon Age currently. So it's kind of who you ask. Some people are gonna shit all over you, and some people are like, yeah, man, you're a gamer. And if you take it literally, if you're playing Subway Surfers, you are playing a game, right? So if we want to be, if we want to be like fucking pedantic about it, yeah, you're a gamer. You're playing a video game on your phone. But maybe I'm just trolling too hard. See what you guys say.
Should I go? Should I?
Go ahead, Cog. Go ahead.
All right, Mr. Lawyer. Uh, if I build an IKEA shelf, am I a carpenter? If I pour a bowl of cereal, am I now a chef? Like, words have meaning, okay? A gamer. Okay, so let me. Not that I meant what I just said, but let me be a little more serious. So I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with mobile games as entity. Like it's fine to me. Everybody has, for the most part, cell phones, and so it just makes sense from a market standpoint to try to make that platform uh, game friendly. That makes sense from a business standpoint. And obviously that's paid dividends for mobile game companies for sure. So I understand from a business standpoint, it makes sense for them to want to pump money into these projects and like really put a lot of investment into mobile games. Um, and do I play mobile games? Kind of. Like the only mobile game that I'm playing now is Pokemon Pocket TCGs because something I could like dick around with for a few minutes and then like move on with the rest of my day.
Yeah.
I don't play games on my phone though otherwise. But I understand that there's some people that are super busy and they don't really have time to sit at a computer and game for real, or get a console and like really sit down and spend, 2 3 to 4 hours on a day just to play through this game. Some people will have very busy lives, so for them their mobile games is the only way they can get any kind of gaming in. So I understand that, and if you're that person, I'm not attacking you. However, I am attacking the people who only play mobile games and try to flex as like, well, I'm a gamer because I play Candy Crush. It's like, you're
Hmm.
not, bro. Like, am I a professional football player because I watch a lot of football? You may understand the plays, but like, you're not a football player. Like, you're either
Yeah.
a football player or you're not a football player, right? So to me, that's how I look at it. So mobile games have a space, obviously. They have a place. A lot of people like them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to pretend like you're high, like there's a totem pole, there's a hierarchy, right? Mobile gaming, as far as like, are they real games or not? They're kind of low on the totem pole to me, in the hierarchy of like what is a real game. Like, and it doesn't even have to be gamers like me. Like, I'm not an RPG guy, but I respect RPG players because I know those games take a lot of investment. They take a mind that has a lot of foresight, and you have to, there's strategy in that, right? And there's investment. With mobile games, I don't know if there's an investment in those games. The games are, to me, shallow for the most part, um, or predatory, which is a whole nother conversation. Um, so yeah, are mobile gamers to me? No, they're not. But I could understand the appeal of it. So
All right. What say you, SO?
Well, it's definitely a loaded question. I think it honestly, in my humblest opinion, I would say that you're kind of sort of are a fake gamer. You know, there's things that come in. No, because okay, if you kind of
No,
think,
no, I'm not.
if you think about your experiences as an actual gamer, like these guys never waited in line for a console or a collector's edition. They never had heated conversations about certain characters being better, crazy debates and whatnot, things like that. There are certain things, certain staples that are associated with an actual gamer that I don't think gamers who occupy the mobile space have. I mean, yeah, y'all can argue about, oh, level 791 was hard on Candy Crush, as, Kong spoke about. But we all have a certain puzzles in the game. Like, some time ago, uh, Gunnar, Wolf, and I were discussing The Legend of Zelda on, Ocarina of Time, and how it had certain puzzles, and there was one certain dungeons, and how we had a particular one that we were fond of, and they were super memorable. Like, I'm not saying that people who occupy the phone space doesn't have, memorable moments and whatnot, but like it's just, I think when it comes to like consoles and PC, there's a more grandiose scale. Um, these guys are not picking up, going on game facts, trying to acquire information about said game on a mobile. Like, I don't think they're doing that. Like, there's certain characteristics that comes with being, or certain things that you do when it comes to being a gamer, that I don't think the people who occupy the mobile environment does. There's a difference between Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter Go, or Pokemon and Pokemon Go. It's a vast, stark difference. And yes, they are playing games, but the experience, in my opinion, and mind you, I also dabble in some mobile games as well. I play like I'm a filthy casual when it comes to Pokemon Go. I'm a filthy casual when it comes to like other games as well. Most of the games that I play are puzzle games on my phone, so I'm playing this game like Flow. Um, and they have a couple of like uh, tactical RPGs on there because I love tactical RPGs, but I can't continuously play them because they occupy um, the predatory uh, things that Kong was alluding to earlier. Because in order for you to get a good character, there's like a metric and a rubric and like a gotcha system associated with that. Um, so I'm just saying that to say like I don't think so. I don't mean to like diminish them in any way, shape, or form, but there are certain things again definitively that I know that actual gamers have experience with their consoles and PCs that I don't think phones that they've done with phones, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think mobile gaming is just a very casual way to play. I think it's a platform that has the lowest barrier of entry. Like it's very easy to download the games, very easy to play those games. Like there's no complicated controls. It's usually very welcoming. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's a space for that. But like it's to me it's like what I said earlier. Just because I could build a IKEA shelf, I'm not a carpenter. Like what do you know what I mean? So like that title, you have to earn that title. There has to be stripes associated with the title. And so it's still different to, you know, a gamer. Like, and that's not like anything to be proud of per se. I'm not like, yeah, I'm a gamer. It's, it doesn't mean anything, but it's a hobby that I engage with. It's a hobby that it's been a part of my life and I care about. So, I don't want it to be just occupied by anybody. It's like, relax. If you're a Candy Crush player, just say that you're a Candy Crush player. You're not a gamer, because when you think of a gamer, you think of somebody who plays what I consider real games, whether that be Super Mario Brothers or Zelda or Final Fantasy or Resident Evil or whatever, right? That blank could be filled in with almost any game that you could think of that you're passionate about, because in the gamer space there's so many categories.
Yeah,
Gamer encompasses a large swath of different kinds of people with different like levels of investment and interest. So
yeah,
just because I ate a bowl of grapes doesn't mean I had dinner, right?
yeah. True. Or you
So
you know you went to the gym a couple of days doesn't mean you're a gym rat. So
right, exactly.
it,
So like
yeah,
that it's the title that like the gamer title is already broad, and when you add mobile gamers to that equation, it becomes like ridiculous. Like at that point, like most of the world are gamers now. It's like, really, like if a person only ever played Pac-Man a few times in the 80s, oh, they're a gamer. It's like that man hasn't touched a joystick or controller in 30 years. It's not a gamer
yeah,
anymore. He engaged with it once or twice.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's a weird take, but
yeah.
some people will take offense to it. I guess I don't know. I don't really
True,
care.
true. And I'll also add, like, on the contrary, I'm absolutely proud to be a gamer. I mean, despite the outside world where it's like, it is what it is. You're just, yeah, it's something that's has been emboldened in me since like a toddler. Like 3, 4 years old and whatnot. And it's always been something that I've been super enthusiastic about coming of age and even becoming an adult or whatnot. So I am proud to like say that I am a gamer. Not saying that I mean, one may argue that it is a waste or whatnot. Absolutely, whatever. But it's all dependent upon what it is that you're like, how you interpret the time that you're utilizing. Games for me is a way to escape and enjoy myself, and I get super enthusiastic about certain moments within games that I could share with my friends who enjoy the space as much as I do. I don't think is that I don't think you get that same interactions in mobile. It's seldom that there are, because you know you have games like the City of Final Fantasy where there were certain bosses within there that was like, holy shit, this is hard, blah blah blah. Um, but like it's not the same in my opinion. It's not the same.
All right, ready for the next spin.
Spin it up.
What we got? What we got? What we got?
3.
3. Oh, this one is interesting. Speed running isn't fun unless you know the game. And to explain,
Okay.
they're referring to like watching speedrunners and whatnot.
Oh,
Yeah.
from a spectator perspective.
Yeah.
And what was the question again? Just repeat it so I make sure I get it.
Speed running isn't fun unless you know the game.
Disagree. I've watched speedruns of games I have no idea about, and I learn about the game through the speedruns. So I disagree because I don't binge watch speedrunners, but sometimes I'll find myself watching a speedrun of a game, and there'll be games where I don't know what the game is, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'll watch this, I guess, because the game looks interesting, and so I'll watch a speedrun of it. But I will say that most of the speedruns that I watch are games that I know about.
Yeah.
So I'm more attracted to games that I'm familiar with, and I will watch a speedrun because I'm curious. Because if it's like, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like Resident Evil 3, it's like, okay, I've beaten the game dozens of times. Now I'm interested to see what a speedrun of that looks like, and what he skips and what he doesn't skip, and what new strategies are employed in order to get a good time. So I'll admit that, but I don't think I need to know the game in order to enjoy a speedrun of it personally. That's just my take.
Yeah. Same. I disagree. I don't think you need to know the game in order to understand the speed run and appreciate the speed run and even enjoy a particular speedrunner running it. Yeah, again, obviously, like Kong said, if you know the game, you can. It's more personable to you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just for context, I'm not the biggest fan of watching speedruns. I don't find most of them very interesting. It's like, oh, the tech is cool, like how they figure it out, but it's just like I, once like I see it once, it's like, okay, that's neat. I don't really like, oh, I clipped through this wall and now I'm at the final boss. Um, but I do admit it is biased. I do like watching some people speed run the Zelda games. I've seen Ocarina of Time speed runs. I've seen Wind Waker speed runs. Whoa, glitchless and glitched. The glitch ones runs are always very fun. Look up Wind Waker glitch runs, and they don't use the boat. They just have Link slingshot himself from island to island using a. It's very funny. But no, to bring it back to the hot take, no, you don't need to know the game to run it. And sometimes some of the best speed runs come from very obscure, like out of left field games. I've seen a speed run from a Lord of the Rings Hobbit game that was buried on Steam, and people speed ran it, and there's like a whole community that speed runs that game. So no, you don't need to know the game. Does it help? Sure. Like most things, it probably would help. But is it necessary? No. You could just appreciate it for the love of the games.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with what you guys said. I disagree with the take. I myself, I don't always necessarily indulge in speedrunning, but when I do see a good one, I am really intrigued because it takes a level of skill of not only to understand the game, but also to understand circumstances beyond what the game allows you to do. There's instances as you guys already mentioned, breaking the game. I've watched a Bloodborne player, how he's like glitched through certain walls to get to certain bosses, and not only that, he was also skilled enough to subdue the different bosses that came his way. And you guys, as you guys know, Souls games are pretty difficult in terms of like fighting bosses and just navigating the game as a whole. I saw him run through the Bloodstarved Beast in like 15 seconds or something like that. And he was, not only was he doing that, he was comfortable enough to explain what it was that he was doing, which made it even more interesting. And another game, I think Kong showed me. It was a game that we've all played, Pokemon, and just how this guy effectively utilized the spacings, because Pokemon at its like core, in its bare bones, and like ground base groundwork or whatever. It's a grid,
Foundation?
huh? Yeah, it's foundation.
Foundation?
Yes, thank you for that. It's a grid system. So this guy was effectively utilizing the grid to avoid battles, to avoid dealing with random encounters within the Pokemon world. There was even an explanation as to why he picked a certain, if I'm not mistaken, a certain Pokemon with a certain nature as a starter, as opposed to the other ones. So to effectively understand the game, know the positioning of all the placements of the characters that will stop you and hinder you from moving forward. The item locations, because rare candies he would utilize to max his monster. It's insane. Like I love watching them when I do, but I don't watch them religiously. So and I'm just as intrigued as if with speedrunners playing a game I don't know, because I watch them for the level of expertise and beyond. So yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon speedruns are super interesting because they're very systematic and they're very methodical. Like every single battle, every attack, every decision, every step is taken into account into this giant equation that is the
Random
speedrun. And it's like eliminating as many random
elements.
elements as possible to, get to the Elite Four, beat the game or whatever. So those are really impressive. Cool. We got time for more, right?
Yes, we are 40 minutes in, so yeah, we got more.
Okay, we could probably do one or two. Okay.
Yep.
Hot take. Come on. Number 8.
Okay, number 8. Games are more inclusive now, and that's a good thing. You wanted a hot take, and you got it.
Games are definitely more inclusive now, and in my opinion, it is not a good thing. Why? So before, if you had asked me that 10 years ago, I would have said, yeah, absolutely. The more the merrier, right? The company makes more money, they're gonna make better games. That was naive me. That was hopeful me. That was positive me. Which is saying a lot because I was never really that much of a positive person.
But you're also a data person. So given the data, it was moving in that direction. So I have to give you.
So, like, you would think that, like, if a company makes more money, if you feel like they make a good product and you stand by the product, whatever that may be, it doesn't have to be a video game, it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it logically, you would think, okay, well, if they make more money, they'll make better products and they'll continue to make good products. You would think that, but in practice, that's not really true.
Yeah.
In fact, the opposite is true. So what ended up happening, at least within the gamer space, is the more inclusive it became, the lower the quality of the games we got, really, in my opinion. And in being more inclusive, it's also introduced people with certain ideologies or views on life that hinder the creative development of a game, and kind of injects political messaging, injects personal views, injects biases, societal biases, and it becomes less and less of a game and more of a political statement. That's what's ended up happening. It's not something I've anticipated. It's something that has happened and now I regret. Could I have changed the course of history to reverse it? No. It would have happened with or without me, with or without my blessings. So I don't take any responsibility, but I do acknowledge that it was it was short-sighted of me to just think, okay, well, if a company makes more money, then that means they'll make better games. Example would be Monster Hunter. So I love Monster Hunter. I've loved it ever since I first laid eyes on the game in 2008 in that college class, where Frank and Tyvel were playing, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck is that? I've never seen it before." And I bought a PSP that very day. I spent my last $200 to buy a Madden Blue Edition PSP and a copy of Monster Hunter. Um, and so, and I never looked back. Right, I've played every major Monster Hunter game since, and I've enjoyed pretty much all of them since then. Up until Rise. Rise is where it started to get a little wonky. World, there was some things I was like, I don't know if I love this, but I could live with it. But Rise was the start of like the beginning of the end. And that continued on to Wilds. Wilds was pretty disappointing for me because it became more inclusive. And in becoming more inclusive, it's still not inclusive enough for the people that wanted it to be inclusive. And now it's so inclusive that I no longer have fun with the game because the game is not that challenging anymore. It doesn't have the same grit that it used to. And it's just like, it sucks, man. So to answer the question, no, I think inclusivity is bad for gaming, and I think for most things, most hobbies or genres of entertainment, I think it dilutes the quality of what made that thing great in the first place. So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it boils down to what you mean when you say inclusive. Again, this is another one where different people have different definitions. Some it's, I'm just going to be honest. For some people, it's different races of people. For some people, it's a certain demographic of people being the lead main character as opposed to others. For some people, it's the literal word definition of inclusion, to be included in a space where previously they might have felt excluded. So again, it's one of those things that means different things. So in regards to seeing different races and ethnicities in a game, inherently I don't have a problem with that. And I think for a large variety of games, we were there in a lot of respects. Like there were different characters of different ethnicities in a lot of games that I played, but it also boiled down to where the games were made. Like obviously, if this is a Japanese game, I think a Japanese person will be the lead character. If this was a game made in the UK or France, they would have different kind of like ideas of what their lead character should look like. So I think it all depends on who makes it and how they make it, and they're free to put whatever character they want. Unfortunately, now the inclusivity has kind of gone off the deep end, and now certain studios feel like they have to put certain demographics of people regardless of story. Damn the story. I don't like that because it makes me dislike the character, not because of their ethnicity or race, but because I can feel the pandering oozing out of your product. And it just makes me not want to interact with it at all. Not because I'm racist or anything. It's just because I don't want to support this. If the game fits the character, I will see it. It will exude from the game. Like, okay, I can see why this character is the way they are, and their race and skin color doesn't matter. So that's that inclusivity. Now, if we go to the topic of actual inclusivity, like Kong used the perfect example of Monster Hunter Wilds. Someone can make an argument that that game is incredibly inclusive. We can make the argument that it's too inclusive, that it holds your hand too much, and it the barrier to entry is incredibly low. There's no challenge, there's no uphill climb, there's no reaching the top of the mountain. You're already at the top, and now we're all just prancing around the top of the mountain together. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way with the game too. I like it. I like its aesthetics. I like the way it operates more than I did with Rise. But I haven't played in a while. Truth be told, I haven't even booted up the new title update because it's like, why? Kind of question mark. Why? I don't hate the game. I don't regret my time with it. I don't feel like it was a waste of money, me personally. But there's just nothing in that game to bring me back, and that's because they made the game very inclusive, and some people love that. Some people that couldn't play Monster Hunter because Generations Ultimate, for example, was too much of a barrier to them, they're loving Wilds, and it is what it is. I mean, I can't tell them to take all of that stuff out and make the game I want them to make. This is the game they chose to make, and either you know I piss or get off the pot. So that's kind of where we are currently with that. So again, and TLDR, inclusion is not bad. It's just the way it's done, and it also means different things. So I rambled enough. I'll pass it to you, Mr. Esoteric.
Yeah, I absolutely disagree with the take. I don't think it's well, I mean, as you guys already stated, there are layers. This question is an onion, and there's quite a few layers associated with this hot take. I feel like it it's kind of like a too many chefs in the kitchen type of deal, right? Like, and I'm referring to the customers, not the developers or anybody who's involved in creating the game. The there's like a when it comes to, especially within the gaming sphere, when there's an elevation in inclusivity, there's a dilution when it comes to the essence of the game that was created. And I have a huge issue with that. It's not people coming into our space and saying, "Hey, this is interesting. Let's abide by the rules of what was already implemented." No, it's people are coming into it and it's like, "Oh, let's make some changes because it's not working for me." And because those people outweigh us, we get thrown to the sidelines. And so when it comes to the success of the video game industry, it's pretty skewed due to this. Like in terms of sales, yeah, they're doing really well because they're appeasing to the masses, which follows the same like sentiment and logic of what the generalities are within those masses. And we are like the more of like the purists when it comes to like the gameplay and whatnot. We wanted to maintain its its accuracy, what we fell in love with games in the first place. And because of that, because they come in an overwhelming size, we've become marginalized, and that's why I say it's not a that it's not a good thing. I don't care about them implementing different races or whatnot. I don't care about any of that. Although I will say that it does stifle creativity, because if you want to create a game based off of a particular region, you're because of like the current uh, way that things are, you're gonna implement other people who most likely are not even associated with that region, and then it becomes disingenuous because it's like, as Gunn already said, it becomes pandering. It's like, how can we make sales better? Okay, we're gonna put this character in here because it resonates with a certain demographic, and believe it or not, it really, people eat that shit up. They really do. It's like they don't care about the game, and which I also hate about that. I hate people who come into the space, they complain about the game, and they had no intentions of even playing the game, of ever even paying for it, of ever even booting it up, and they occupy a resounding amount of people to kind of sway creators and developers and the people involved in making the game to make certain decisions. And that annoys the hell out of me, because it's like, you're not coming in this hobby in good faith. You're coming here to pretty much deteriorate something that was once good. You're like termites. We have a foundation, we have a nice built house, and here you are just like chewing at certain pieces of wood, and before you know it, that shit is gonna crumble, you know. And that's the thing. When it comes to the elevation of inclusivity, all these businesses are looking at are sales. So the more people that they appease to, the more money that they're going to make, and that's pretty much what it is. And unfortunately for us, we're unable to play the game that we originally fell in love with. It's like it's like a it's I hate to say this, but it's kind of like a woman who like cakes up a whole bunch of makeup because they want to look good to everyone. But then when you peel back the layers, it's like this is what I'm getting. You know,
You look like you were just healing and Left for Dead. You just like heal up, put on these
yeah,
bandages real quick.
yeah. You know, so that's pretty much my take on it. I absolutely disagree with it. I'm not. It's not that I'm not for it, but I'm not for the aspect of it where people are coming in bad faith and they're just trying to change things to accommodate them and not paying homage to the people that's been there before them. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, I'll just say that like my position was really around difficulty and quality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did mention like political messaging and all that. I think it's fine if you want to if you want to change the norm and have like different kinds of people represented in the game. If it makes sense, it has to make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
Metal
you
Gear,
know,
you know.
Eddie Gordo in Tekken 3, he's a vastly different character to what Tekken was known for, but that made sense, and he was a great fucking character. He's the
Mm-hmm.
coolest character in that game, right?
Yeah.
And it's a character, it's a beloved character in the Tekken universe now. So like that kind of representation, I'm more than okay with. It's like, yeah, if it makes sense, do it. Yeah, fuck yeah. But like when it's forced and it's like unnatural and it's pandering, that's where it's a problem. It's like, okay, we're just doing this to do it.
You mean like making orcs good? So I mean,
Eh,
Yeah, it's stupid shit like that. It's just like you're just I don't know. The wrong people are making these decisions, and that's obvious. And so those people need to be kicked out of the industry, my opinion. But will it happen? Probably not. Anyway, we got time for one more, right?
yep. We got time for one more.
Spin the
all
wheel.
right, last spin. Let's see.
Lucky number 7. What we got?
Number 7. Okay. Playing on easy mode doesn't make you less of a gamer.
Uh, in a way, it kind of does, but honestly, no, it does. It doesn't. I don't think it does. I mean, if you want to, because it depends. Like some people have different reasons as to why they play on different difficulties. Um, and so if you asked me that question 10, 15 years ago, I would have said absolutely. If you're playing on easy, you're a fucking bitch. For sure, I would have said that. But I don't believe that anymore. I think just interacting with more people and just getting more life experience and stuff, and just living less time myself to play these games, and in some instances having less patience. Um, I get why people play on easy or play on normal and aren't interested in playing fucking super hard mode or anything like that, because it's like, bro, listen, I got an hour and a half at the end of every day to play a game, and I'm not trying to break my head trying to like get through this HP sponge of a fucking enemy or whatever. So I get it. And to be honest, I think most games do difficulty just the super lazy way and
Yes.
Yep.
incorrectly.
Yep.
So like difficulty means less. The more I understand it, the more I understand how it's implemented, where it's just like we're just gonna move some numbers around, and this enemy hits you way harder and has way more HP, and you hit way less harder. And it's like that's not, yeah, it's harder, but it's just like saying all right, we're gonna need you to screw this screw into this pallet. You can't use a drill, you can't use a screwdriver, you gotta use like your fucking finger. It's like, why the fuck would I do that? Like it just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
Um so to me, I get it. However, my problem or potential problem is if somebody plays a game on easy, but they want to walk around and flex like they didn't play on easy. It's like that's where I draw a line. It's like, all right, if you played on easy, that's fine. Uh, but don't act like you didn't play on easy. Just
Yeah, just
don't be
own it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, just be like, yeah, I played on easy, whatever. I don't. I just wanted to play through the game and finish the game. Like, and some people will judge you for sure. There are gonna be people who are like, oh, you're kind of a bitch, or you're kind of a pussy, whatever. Uh, those are criticisms that you're just gonna have to like deal with.
Yeah.
The same is true on the other side. If you play a game on hard, people are gonna be like, oh, you're kind of sweaty, right? Like the insults
Hmm.
could go either way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I say just play. First of all, play games that you like. And if you like easier games that are cozy, then that's fine. Play those games. If you want to play action games and they have an easy mode, and that's like the more feasible way for you to play them, then do it. I'm gonna if the game has a difficulty option, I'm probably gonna go harder because I have 30 something years of experience playing video games, and if it's a genre of games that I'm really familiar with, then I think I would have an easier time playing on hard than somebody who just their first console was PS5. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's so different. So um yeah, it doesn't make you less of a gamer, but don't pretend like you didn't play on easy. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not pretty much. But I echo the sentiments. Um, yeah, you're not less of a gamer if you play on easy. Sometimes I've lowered the difficulty on certain bosses because it's just not fun. And it's just like, I just want to beat you. It's a single player game. I'm not putting this on my resume. For my next job, it's like, oh, I beat this RPG on ultra hard. No one cares. No one cares. Um, and this is a little slightly different from the hot take. I think this also kind of applies to accessibility settings. A lot of people harp on those, and they think they're like they think you're less of a gamer if you use certain accessibility settings. What I mean by that is not literally like stuff for like people who are nearsighted or have hearing impairments. Stuff like a game I'm playing right now, Expedition 33. When you do attacks, it's kind of like the Mario RPGs. If you press like X at a perfect time, you'll do an extra attack or extra damage. There's an accessibility setting where it'll just do that for you. Now, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're a bitch. Like, play it yourself." It's just like it's a single player RPG. This person has nothing to prove by doing that. I don't mind if they turn on that setting. Like, it doesn't affect me and my gameplay. I have that setting off. I don't mind if they have that setting on. But going back to Kong's point, don't try to be like, oh yeah, that button combination for that ultimate move, that shit was hard. And then I check your settings and you have the accessibility. It's like, come on, man. Like, own the fact that you used it. I'm not gonna castrate you, but just own it. So, yeah, TLDR, I don't mind it. Doesn't make you less of a gamer. Just own it. Oh, one more thing, and if the game doesn't have these features, respect that. Um, the Souls games are a big one of that, and I've seen people every time a Souls games drop. Souls game should have an easy mode. Why is there no difficulty slider? Because the developers didn't put one in. They don't have to put one in. They don't owe it to you to put one in. If it's really that big of a deal, buy it on PC and use Cheat Engine, I guess.
Or Git
It,
Good.
it, or get good. Yeah, hey. But so if they don't have one, that's the decision they made. Respect it. Either play it or move on to something else. But if you want to play on easy mode, bro, go ahead. It's your game, your money. I didn't buy it for you. Play what you want on whatever difficulty you want.
Yeah. I pretty much agree. With with the take. It doesn't make you less of a gamer. However, don't flaunt that you have a great sword when you're walking around with a short blade or whatever. And what I mean is pretty much, you guys already said it. Don't sit here boasting about you beating a game and how easy it was and whatnot, and coming to conversations where it's not realized, where you're trying to hide the fact that you played on easy mode. Be comfortable in your playstyle. Like, absolutely be comfortable in your playstyle. I think that, kind of segueing off of the take, I think that games kind of fell off with the incentive of playing on harder difficulties. I remember there were some games way back in the days where if you played on a certain difficulty, you can only play up to a certain part of the game. Once you got to that point, they would ask you to play normal mode to complete it. Or if you were playing a game like like Ninja Gaiden, depending upon which level, well, first and foremost, you don't even have access to the hardest difficulty until you beat the hardest difficulty at that time. And then once you do that, Ninja Gaiden rewards you with like new weapons, new enemies, and potential new bosses. So those are some really, at least in my opinion, those are some really nice incentives to have in order to want to challenge yourself, because you're able to see new things within the game that not many people would take the time to see. And by you having that discussion, people will be more inclined to maybe wanting to do that, simply because it's like, well, FOMO, like, oh my god, you fought armor in this form? What the hell? I didn't have access to that. Oh, you had to play the hardest difficulty. All right, let me work on that, because it sounds like it's a good fight that you wanted, that you enjoyed. I want to try it too. So there were incentives back in the days to playing on hard difficulties. But now, Kong already touched on it. It's just sponges and plastic forks. It's like the enemy is a sponge. You got the plastic fork, and no matter how much you stab that sponge, it's not gonna take any damage with a plastic fork or whatnot. So yeah, I absolutely agree with the take. It doesn't make you any less of a gamer. Enjoy it, but be transparent about it. And oh my god, one more thing, because the accessibility options, when it comes to games that you compete in, especially like the fighting community, because I really do hate this as a whole. There are instances where I do feel like you're less of a gamer because you didn't execute those moves. You use whatever controls they gave you, assist controls, in order to do certain combos or get certain moves out. And that is okay, but for you to kind of like flaunt as if like you're better than a player that's using regular controls, that's where it's like, yeah, I would shit on you for that. But besides that, everything is copacetic.
The
All
phrase you
right.
used that I just want to say this last thing you
Yeah,
quoted.
no, go for it. Yeah.
Challenging yourself is not a popular term these days. People are not interested. A lot. Well, I'm not gonna say all people, but like there's a good maybe not even many, but like I'm gonna say a lot. There's a sizable amount of people who are not interested in that at all. They challenge myself, no thanks. Like, and it depends. So there are people who won't challenge themselves in the context of a video game for different reasons. Some people will not want to challenge themselves because they don't see a worthwhile They don't see it as a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'd rather challenge myself in the gym. I'd rather challenge myself at work. I'd rather challenge myself as a father or as a parent or as a teacher, whatever, right? And that's fine. That 100 respect, 100%.
Yeah.
But people who don't have those reasons and like they're like, I don't want to challenge myself because I just want to have fun or whatever, that's fine. But understand that there are going to be certain circles that you're not going to be welcomed in. Like that's just a fact. You have to accept that. Like you mentioned fighting games, like you will not be welcome into the FGC if you're like playing on casual controls. Like you're going to be judged. that people are gonna judge you.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like there are people who play with hitbox controls, like those arcade sticks that it's just buttons.
Oh yeah.
Like and those
Whew.
people get shitted on all the time, right? Even though they're winning and they're really skilled, like people like purist fighting game guys will like that guy is like
Really? Because those shits
that
look
guy's
Really?
really hard to use. I think those are
Yeah,
the
it's like the guy's playing
elitists.
the piano to fucking do a Hadouken or some
Yeah, I
shit.
think those are like the
so
elitists of the FGC.
it depends on who you ask. So some people would agree that that's the way, but then there are, like I said, it's purist. It's like the old school mentality of like, if you're not playing stick or pad, I can't respect that way of playing because there are certain commands that are literally impossible, as far as I understand,
That's
that are
right.
literally
That's right.
impossible to
That's right.
do on a stick
That's
or a
right.
pad because they're buttons. So like,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
to them, there's like you're cheating, like you're playing outside of the bounds of the game that we're all playing. You have access to tools that we don't have access to.
No, that makes
So
a lot
like,
of sense because there's a lot of
so
shortcut possibilities with button combinations as opposed to motions. Like
right,
you can't do a quarter circle motion without going through the actual motion. Whereas a person could
yeah,
just
because
tap the buttons and
you
okay,
have to literally move
yeah,
the thing.
hmm
Whereas you tap tap like that, you, I don't care how fast your wrist is, like you're not beating that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like that's where there's like controversy there, but it's legal in most tournaments,
Interesting.
so it
I
is
can
what it
see
is.
that.
Like
I can see that.
you know, you either play hitbox if you want that, if you want access to those tools. Like that's my answer to you at that point. Um, so I get it. So like I don't know. It's a multi-layered conversation. Um,
Yeah, but it takes
as
it.
far as easy is concerned, like because easy to the take easy, we're talking about easy mode and like most single player games. That's how I kind of took it. But like accessing difficulty can mean different things
True.
depending on the game that we're talking about. So um, anyway, I'll leave it at that. Gunnar, you can take us home.
Okay, well, that was interesting. I did not know that. Now I do.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you that is the end of our episode on our hot takes wheel of fortune. If you guys liked it, let us know. If you guys disliked it, also let us know. If you guys have any hot takes of your own that we didn't mention, maybe we don't have it. We have Esoteric has a pretty big list of hot takes, so we've got a lot, but we're always welcome to fan suggestions and fan input. So if you have anything, leave a comment down below. We'll definitely check it out. And once again, as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the podcast. We appreciate every single person that watches and listens, especially if you watch the whole thing. You're number one. So, again, like and subscribe. If you're a social media guy, we have social medias on most of the social medias. Check it out. Check those that apply to you. We're always putting different stuff there, different content. So, if you want to get involved in our, that's the way to do it. Mr. Esoteric is the resident streamer of our crew. He streams every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern. So check him out. He's a variety streamer. He streams a lot of stuff, a lot of AAA, AA, indie games. Runs the gambit. Does some multiplayer streams. Plays with the community. If you guys have a game, like he'll jump on COD, Fall Guys. So he's very interactive with the community, and he streams a bunch of stuff. So follow him there. He's streaming on Twitch. He's got YouTube streams going. So if YouTube's more your thing, hang out there. Twitch is more your thing. You hang out there. We got a small but mighty community. Pretty good group of guys and gals. So always looking to have more come in. More the merrier, right? That pretty much wraps up all the stuff. One more spin for the lulz. And on that note, thank you guys for watching and listening today. We'll see you in the next one.
Indeed.